It's already been 3 years since the launch of Final Fantasy XVI on the PlayStation 5, yet many fans of the franchise are speculating about what the next entry in Square Enix's flagship franchise should be like. In this video, we're going to analyze the 5 things the development team needs to get right for the game to be considered a mainstream success. We've listed our most important element as 5th, so make sure you keep watching till the end. But before we begin, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for similar content. Alright then, let's get started. It's been proven beyond a doubt that role-playing games don't need to incorporate action elements into their battle systems to be successful. There's no stronger proof of this than Clair-Obscur Expedition 33, a game that leaned heavily on the turn-based battle system used in older Final Fantasy titles such as X, to create an enjoyable experience for all players. But that's not the only example. Other titles such as Metaphor ReFantazio, Persona 5, or even Square Enix's own Dragon Quest XI all utilize the turn-based battle system. So nothing is holding Square Enix back from returning to its roots and creating a game based on the battle system it itself made famous. Furthermore, the progression and character development system should be reminiscent of Final Fantasy X or other Square Enix titles such as Bravely Default. It should give players a sensation that they're working towards something, as if they're gaining experience to achieve a goal. A return to the classic job system of Final Fantasy III wouldn't be too bad either. If you're going to create a Final Fantasy game, it needs to include an open and fully explorable world. A world that can be traversed using multiple methods, such as chocobos, boats, road vehicles, and of course, airships. Recent mainline entries have either gone halfway, such as Final Fantasy XV, or abandoned it entirely, like in Final Fantasy XVI or XIII, with developers opting for other side content in the hopes that they can keep players invested in the games for a longer period of time after they've completed the main story. But it doesn't feel the same. Having an open world to explore that essentially rewards you for roaming around and finding new areas is what players want. Furthermore, if they're going to create an open world, they should give players total freedom within it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's endless to-do lists are a great example of what not to do if you're trying to create an expansive area. There should be no side menus holding the player's hands in case they get lost. YouTube can take care of that. Let them enjoy their freedom and find out the world's secrets on their own. Of course, no Final Fantasy game can be considered worthwhile without a solid backbone, which, in this case, would be a great and memorable story. Final Fantasy XVI did a great job in this department, and so did so many of its predecessors, which is why this franchise is so fondly remembered and so hotly debated even to this day within online forums such as X or Reddit, with fan wars being ignited now and again about which character was the best looking or who was the strongest. The appeal of these characters is further enhanced by the struggles that they go through during the games, which humanizes them in the eyes of the players and makes them relatable. This is something that the developers of Final Fantasy XVII will need to ensure they accomplish this time around as well. But given the franchise's track record, it's a pretty safe bet that they'll do a great job. Do we want a steampunk world, a medieval setting, a more modern one, or a world with futuristic elements? It seems as though recent Final Fantasy titles have hit the all of the above option lately. Final Fantasy XIII went for a world based on a technologically advanced civilization, while Final Fantasy XV opted for something closer to our own era. Final Fantasy XII was based somewhere in a galaxy far, far away. However, the more recent Final Fantasy XVI felt a bit closer to home for the older fans of the franchise, at least when it comes to warriors with swords fighting dragons and hunting for crystals and all of that. If you take away all the spectacle and the action-based battle system, which personally I believe had no place in a mainline Final Fantasy title, the setting of the latest iteration was the ideal backdrop and should serve as a perfect example for the next mainline entry. Besides, back in the day, games like Final Fantasy I, II, III, IV, and V all had no issue maintaining that setting of knights, mages, and dragons. In fact, it was considered a given. It was only when Square began to experiment with games like Final Fantasy VI that the franchise started to lose its identity. But I believe the developers of Final Fantasy XVI had the right idea here, and the 17th entry to the mainline series should be maintained in a world devoid of technology. This may be the most important factor for the success of the next big Final Fantasy game. It must be announced and released as quickly as possible. No major announcements, only to be followed by a period of radio silence. No long trailers with a still in development message at the end. Fans have been very patient with the company. In fact, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that a lot of younger players have even forgotten about Final Fantasy entirely. It's mostly due to the fond memories that older players have from back in the day when Square Enix, then known as Squaresoft, would drop banger after banger every year that the franchise's reputation remains intact. If they ask fans to wait another 7 to 8 years for the next mainline entry in their flagship franchise, then it's highly likely there may not be anyone around. Their core fanbase is getting older. They don't have a lot of younger fans. So they need to create quality content that ensures they will remain relevant within the gaming stratosphere for the years to come, to avoid being overlooked for other RPGs that may not necessarily be as good as theirs, but deliver more content to their players. One would argue that delivering a hastily created product to players would come at the cost of its quality, and that's totally valid. But something has to happen so Square Enix can sharply reduce development time on their major titles. It isn't just Final Fantasy that suffers from this. Kingdom Hearts is another major franchise that has become a meme within the gaming community for the excruciatingly long time fans need to wait to get even a sliver of information for the next game. So if there is a Final Fantasy XVII to be made, it needs to come out soon. Those are the 5 things we thought to be the most important factors for the next mainline entry to Square Enix's flagship franchise. But what do you think? Did we miss out on anything? Do you feel they need to do even more to ensure its success? Sound off in the comments below. And for more content like this, stay right here at Shadowhunter 867.